So hey everybody. So I'm just gonna say my testimony. But basically, I was very very loosely connected with Christianity originally. My parents never really were Christians or anything like that. Well, my father was a bit of a Catholic. He used to attend church. He wasn't, I guess you'd call, an on fire Catholic. Or however that works. But he would attend church regularly. But I never really had a lot of Christian upbringing or whatever. But so I was loosely introduced to Christ and Christianity quite young. But yeah, so and then I with this one sort of family that I'd stay with, they would go to church, and one day I did have I think maybe a bit of an experience where I thought the priest was talking directly to me or something, and that was interesting. But then, I wasn't really close to God or anything, and then I had a friend that sort of found God in jail or whatever it was, and he helped me get a little bit more acquainted. But at the end of the day, the odd time he would go to church, but he wasn't, exactly on fire or anything like that. And yeah, so very rarely would go to church and stuff like that, or very rarely read the Bible. But then this is where it comes to my real testimony. So a lot of looseness there, but and then the start of 2020, and I was around about 30 years old, and I'd been a conspiracy theorist for 10 years, pretty much 10 years, and my life had sort of disintegrated, where I started finding out about conspiracy theories, and my life started getting worse and worse and worse and worse until I really had no friends. I was completely isolated, and I was just smoking weed all the time, and trying to scare people with whenever I'd find information. They had no real reason to even know. It was just some people get addicted to this information, and it's a thing. You get addicted to it, and at a certain point, I decided that what's the use of you know I'm just sitting here. Why didn't I try and expose the whole thing or something like that? Or like got quite far into it, and then I started to go online and all this, and put it on the Facebook and all that, and blah blah blah. And then the start of 2020, these beings, whatever they were, they decided they I guess I'm not going to go into it too far, but they tried to attack me in so many ways, and they did their best to attack me too. They started off with them talking to my brain, and then it was these weird things where I felt like I was getting attacked by energy weapons and like some sort of radiation weapons, and who knows what was happening. But I was quite out of it, and they were talking to my brain. And the problem was, this is where I'd tell most people, was that they were talking to me, but I talk back to them, And you don't talk back to these beings. They're not your friend. They don't want to, for some reason, they're quite cunning, and they know what they're doing, but you don't know what they're doing. So in the end, they started talking to me and all this sort of thing, and then at a certain point, like I was even quite rebellious towards the whole thing, and they decided that they would attack me kind of full on, so it turned from energy weapons and different things like that to actual beings. Like, obviously I couldn't see them, but they were there. And at a certain point, I can't I can't remember exactly how it all worked, but they were doing other things as well, is what I mean. But they would, at a certain point, the height of their attacks is they were trying to suck my. It felt like they're trying to suck my soul out of my body. And John Ramirez sort of talks about what sort of happened to him after he left his Satanism thing, and then he decided to be a Christian because of what happened to him. Christ, helped him, whatever, and then he he had this thing where some of the scariest attacks, he felt like they were trying to astral travel him without his permission, though. Normally astral travel is you make a covenant with a demon, then you can astral travel. But they were trying to suck him out. Astral travel is when you leave your body in the spirit, and your body stays there, but your spirit is elsewhere and travels around. But and it's like a back door to astral travel to try to suck you out of your body. And they were trying to suck me out of my body, and these beings were there. And you know, it turned from the most powerful ones, then it went down to some. Once that didn't work, because the main thing that didn't work is because they were trying to use fear as their mode of taking me out. You know, of my their the fear was an agreement. So you know, some people say that faith is an agreement, and you know, in Christianity, and fear is an agreement. And so they were trying to use my fear, and I realized that my fear would made me more vulnerable. So if I just didn't fear them and I just allowed them to attack me, feeling the attack and really looking the attack right down the barrel, I they couldn't do it because they needed like legal rights. A lot of it goes into this legal rights thing and all this, and I didn't fear them, so they couldn't do it. And then in the end, they left. So they tried that carried on for a couple of days. These really powerful ones, they hit me with the hardest first, which you know is normally their thing. Hit you the hardest and the weakest place first. And then it turned to these other ones that would only attack me when I'd sleep. So every time I'd go down to sleep, they'd talk to me and watch me during the day. But every time I'd go down to sleep, they'd try to do the same thing. It wasn't the powerful ones. There was these other ones, and it just about felt like they had some sort of tool or something where they were trying to, you know, wedge my spirit out of my body, you know, somehow. And they'd do that over and over and over and over and over again until eventually I'd be praying and all sorts of things, and then eventually I'd go to sleep. But the funny thing is, it would make you very scared to go to sleep. Very, very like, oh, you don't want to sleep, and as soon as you go down to rest, it starts, and on and on it went. And that went on for months, and I put up with it. And I can't believe I put up with it for months. Seriously, if you went through one night of this, you'd just about be driven insane right there. Like, because I tell you, I actually re-enjoyed it, but we'll get into that. But anyway, I enjoyed it for months, and I told my sister, who's a Christian. She's not on fire Christian, but she's a Christian, and she makes sure to live a holy life to the most part. And I told her about it, but then at a certain point, I really told her about it. I said, "This is what's really going on with me," and I told her that, and then she really understood. She goes, "Man, there's something really going on." She just thought it was just an average demon attack where demons talk to you and stuff like that, but it wasn't. It was something more. And yeah, so she really understood what was happening, well, to some point, and then she decided to pray. But she didn't just pray, she really prayed. Do you know what I mean? And that night the attack stopped, which the attacks had been going on for months. And on top of that, these beings had kind of convinced me that God can't help you. It's too bad, too late, too sorry. You've screwed it up. You've been talking to them. You know, you've given them all the rights, and it's too bad. It's over. You know, sorry, but that's just you now. I don't know what you're gonna do. But no, that's not the case. And she prayed in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, and they had to stop. They had to stop attacking me, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. And yeah, the funny thing was, I stayed safe from their attacks for months. For months, I didn't get attacked or nothing. And then in the end, I went back to a sin, eh? I went back to an old sin, and then it gave them legal rights again. I started getting attacked again, and then I got my sister to pray again, but it didn't work as well. It took like longer for me to be saved, to be protected again. It's like a hedge of protection, like that's seen in Job. It's like a protection that's around you, and but eventually, after prayers and sending out prayer requests and all that, I was safe again. And basically from then, I've been doing my best to walk a holy life and a Christian life. You know, we're all gonna fail and we're all not perfect, but that's basically my testimony. And yeah, thank you for listening. So basically, I'm gonna do my best to help those who are struggling with things like this and they don't know what to do, or you know, anything like that. So this is my testimony. Thank you.